Oh, they trying to shake up my little algorithm. Oh, we in the game, man. Gotta jump right into it. Yo, peace. Sparrow in the background. I call him Swift. Bad and smart. We outside getting the UV rays, yo. They coming through the clouds. They feeding the melanin molecule, the neuromelanin molecule. They're doing what they do. You know, the towers is blazing, doing what they do with the weather. And chemtrails, that don't stop. You know what I mean? So they still up in the sky. So anyhow, we're jumping right into it, man. The police force, you know, it's a lot of things going on in the world, man. It's a lot of unnecessary murders and killings and things of that nature dealing with the actual police force with apprehending certain, you know, fugitives or whoever that they're chasing and trying to get. I mean, unnecessary murders, man. Like pulling out guns and stuff like that. It doesn't even make no sense for that to even go down. We're dealing with someone or an agency that has a personality disorder complex. When I say a personality disorder complex, I'm talking about not being able to function at just a normal level of seeing the gray area. It's always black or white. And I've been looking at a lot of these police episodes with pulling individuals over, especially niggas, you know what I mean? Keep it real. You can say black, I ain't black, this is the court of law. Nigga, this is going to say how we relate to things, all right? You know what I mean? We're going to understand what's going on, comprehend, all right? So, how they pull niggas over, man? And they do other individuals like this too if they feel that you weak. This is this complex of entitlement issue to your space where you set a boundary. I had to look to see if they're coming around. When you set a boundary where they can't enter past, where you have to let the window up and be like, yo, okay, here, do you want my license, registration, whatever? Because once you get that license, you know, now you're into the game, they can pull you over. And if you did something like stupid, like didn't turn a blinker on or something like that when they got behind you, didn't come to a complete stop, didn't breathe for 2 seconds, you know what I'm saying? You know, you was nervous. So, you know, that type shit, you know? And so when they see this, they like, yo, they try to go for any little thing. This is an idolizing the value mechanism and discarding mechanism happening in like 10 seconds with your ass before they pull you over. They already know they're gonna pull you over. You know what I mean? They're just trying to make sure that you do something wrong because they know the nigga is so goddamn on right. Even when he wrong, he right. They like, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? So I seen one of the police pull one of the bros over in Chicago and shit, and bro was like, damn, this nigga had some good window action. Cause he knew in Chicago, you learn the science of getting pulled over, like, yo man, you know how to talk to these mugs, you know what I mean? And so a lot of individuals who got licensed, they know they gotta have the little insurance and they gotta follow up and be A100. And you know, with the police, though, you ain't trying to, you know, damn, like niggas, that's just too much stress for a nigga to be A100. This nigga really A100 with this shit? Let's check. You know what I'm saying? Where they know as with certain niggas that, you know, we don't get the license, you know, we'd be like, we're talking about getting pulled over and police brutality, police involvement. It's in the title, G. Peace. You know what I mean? And so, as far as like getting pulled over, you know what I mean? If they know you got a license, first of all, they're running your license plate. You know, and you know the science of transmitting or transporting cargo, your people, your homies, or whatever they want to call. Just the funny little things that can have you in entrapment in their court situation if you don't hurry up and challenge the jurisdiction and hurry up and get it out the way and get it thrown out of court. You know, because it's the straw man, all this shit is involved. But we're striving to get this shit, you know what I'm saying, boom, up out of the joint because you're getting everybody's getting fucked up because you're getting an actual record by having a license, and hence it's a violation because now you got a privilege to drive instead of just having a permit to know how to drive this vehicle to go from A to B, point A to B, you know? Hey, what's happening, Jim Bros? What's happening? Viking, I said, well, Viking woman, what's going on? And so, you know, we got the birds here, they chilling. I don't want to put them in my hand right now, but you know, that's my little angels. Feather dragons. I be tucked down here at the healing pond. Yeah. So yeah, we're just talking about the whole little police pulling over just niggas in America, man. You know, it's a thing where it's showing you the personality disorder that they need to be tested as far as like the type of personality that they have. You know, because its statistics already show how many niggas get pulled over, why, this, that, and the third, and how they get these tickets. You know what I'm saying? Something dealing with money. And so it's like, why, you know what I'm saying? Why niggas gotta go through that with 9 cars? 9 cars gotta pull up on the niggas, you know, to see, just to pull up on a traffic stop. They're hoping that you have a warrant or an unpaid ticket, something that you didn't pay to get that warrant, or if you did something really crazy, that they want you for that warrant. They hoping you had that. So when you just complying with the actual knowing how to talk to the worker of the city, which is the police force, then you ask for their, you know, their supervisor, this is when things get a little bit extra, you know, like the violation. Niggas get pissed with the violation of the simple pullovers for just no apparent reasons, you know what I mean? And, you know, they hoping you don't have no insurance and things of that nature. So you get your car taken from you. They do something to take your time, your energy, your effort, something that you invested in. If you invested a lot of shit in your car, then they know they're gonna get a lot of energy about that. They can harvest that when they take it from you. But I just let my shit go because I just knew already if it was gonna go, if I didn't have the insurance or whatever. But you know, niggas know and understood to get the insurance so you won't get the car taken. You know what I mean? The niggas will go downtown and pay the little $45 or whatever it takes to get you up out of there if they want to run you. Or just dumb stuff they ain't supposed to do, you know? And so these situations, the experience when niggas had with police, I had them at a young age. We're going to be talking about that shit. You know, I had them at a young age, 6 years old, you know? 6 squad cars pull up on me. I'm doing nothing but eating a bag of Doritos. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a kid, dog, you know? And these mugs is grown as hell. Drop the bag of Doritos. Everybody's like, what the hell y'all got the guns on this boy for? You know? And so it continued on all throughout the whole life. And I had a lot of friends get shot and murdered for nothing, running, and then they make up stories, you know? I had a friend, only one that I knew that survived. One of my good friends, he was 15 years old, you know, and he got shot in the back in front of his father. Right on the Ave, man, running through an apartment building. And then they made up a story, he had this and a gun and this, that, and the third, but he ended up living. I came all the way there. I stayed on the side, man. It was one of the ones I stayed on the side. A lot of people, if I didn't stay on their side, they end up transitioning. If I didn't get there in time. I got there in time with him. And, you know what I'm saying? And so we just, you know, wheeled him back to life. They shot him in the back with a gauge in the leg, and it's right next to his father. His father looked at the gun smoking. These demons didn't even care, man. Right in the back of our apartment, you know. And so it's just the fact that, you know, the fact that they would do this to a 15-year-old boy, on top of just everything. Even though in the era that we grew up in, we was, you know, we had dope and just gangs and all that shit, but we was in those shootouts with the police. But they was always trying to come at the young individuals once they split us up so we couldn't walk down the street together. Because that was a thing, we were supposed to walk down the street. Everybody knew when some of the OGs said you gotta walk down the street 4 deep. So the police can't really fuck with you. We had to learn this shit when we was younger. So, you know, knowing that these police got personality disorders, they can look at you, they get drawn up, jealous, envious. All this is like an insecure thing that they gaslight and project onto the young teenager. They're just walking down the street looking fly as hell, laughing, happy than a motherfucker. They want to steal that happiness. And so they've been doing this, they've been training to do this to niggas ever since they were little. So by the time you get in the vehicle to move around, you think you free. You can be sitting in the fucking parking lot. Hey, you gotta know, don't have your keys in the ignition. It's this little shit you gotta know. Because they be peeping in like, yo, yeah, your keys in the ignition, da-da-da-da. I ain't going nowhere, but da-da-da-da, you know, whatever the case that you say, you know. You gotta be right on point so they won't be able to check you for anything, violate your rights, just sitting. They think they can walk up to you, like to a narcissist, like a narcissist think he can walk up to this, anything that they consider they're entitled to, because everybody feel that the nigga is the primary supply source to the toxic rulership in America, like the narcissistic rulership in America, because they parade the nigga along as like, yo, this nigga is the resource. We got resources, and we got this nigga on top of it, spinning around and moonwalking backwards and shit while like he's walking forward. Just all kind of shit. Niggas jumping from the free throw lines, you know, just some soulful shit. And they know this, so they, as America go around the world and make treaties, you know, it's like it's a thing where it's like, okay, they get more bitches. And when they get more bitches, their primary supply source get pushed to the side. Though they still use this primary supply source because it's the smartest motherfucker, they want to make sure that, you know, that when they see it starting to leave, they want to get it back. They want to make sure they keep this primary supply source. if they're not true with this. It depends. They tried this so many times when all their elections, when we was actually voting for these motherfuckers over our life and shit, you know what I'm saying? And while they was in the meantime striving to trick us in all things. Like we couldn't get no fairness, we couldn't get no access to money like everybody else can get access to checks and shit in the month. Niggas gotta jump through hoops to get checks, you know? So it was a lot of little things, you know? And so, like I say, with the police brutality just raising up amongst the police going against the young men, the young black men, which is the young teenagers, you know, them being able to pull guns on the teenagers and the teenagers don't have guns on them. This is just like they really want to cause an uprise, an uproar in the community. So it's like, yo, the personality disorder, if you really want to check the police department, we need to check them for their personality disorder complex. It's a psychological thing. If they got borderline personality, if they was touched and went through things when they was younger, they got a narcissistic a narcissistic personality disorder, we got to test them on that. A sociopath personality disorder, we got to test these things. Because we having these beings come amongst our teenage kids and do horrific things when the parents is not around, even sometimes in front of the parents' face, as I just explained. And so, you know, when you're dealing with these type of beings running rampant on the neighborhood, running rampant in the neighborhood, they want to talk to niggas, and they know the only way they can talk to niggas is who's just shining and happy and got soul. They gotta have a fucking gun, a vest, and then to be able to say something, because niggas wouldn't even be able to talk to you unless they want to have fun and just want to joke around. But niggas wouldn't really talk to nobody, talk to someone who, you know, just who's always want to violate them and shit. You gotta have a gun or a taser or something to kind of, you know, to get your point across. And that's right there, it's like a form of like war. So it's like niggas, they want niggas to kind of strap up to do these things, you know, get your kids out their school, reteach the history, things of that nature. And I don't think you'd be messed with this time, you know. During the last cycle, you could, because they was like, nigga, nope, you can't even take your kids out to school, nigga. Now what? Now you can't even homeschool them. Now you gotta send them to high school and shit. You gotta send them to high school, shit. And we're gonna poison them with the food, motherfucker. And you can't feed them right and exactly. And you can't plant trees in your garden, fruit trees to live off. They got all kind of shit they just said. You know what I mean? So as far as like, you know, now the time is changing. Now that the time is changing, we can demand this to be able to say like, yo, man, y'all need to have a personality disorder test for these officers who do what they do, man. Who actually violate rights of people. We seen it now on YouTube, you know, on all these channels where where black officers were going undercover and they were talking, you know, and they were catching police that was just like horrible, man, treating so-called black folk like they nothing, G. And this comes from the cluster B personality disorder complex. They have a personality disorder, entitlement issue, you know. And this is where it's like, yo, things have to be corrected. We have to get a mentally stable-minded people into the police force, you know what I mean, to be able to deal with so-called civilians and citizens and shit, and nationals and those natives and native naturals and things of that nature, man. Because if we just let it continue to go running amongst, it's going to be like a war. So with that being said, let me know what y'all think, man. I'm finna get ready to go ahead and hop off and jump into the other little realm. And yeah, I'll be with you in the next one. Peace.